What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over what I think is the best loadout 4.0 build in Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 2. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, and comment down below what setup is your favorite so far this season. And this season actually has a lot of potential options in different ways you could go, but a lot of the core of what I'm going to run is basically the same as last season. Starting off with the shotguns and AR, I think both of these are very straightforward because we had the more important or better choices from last season carry over, because the only shotguns we currently have in the game are the Sentinel Pump and the Twin Fire Auto Shotgun. We should be getting the Pump and Dump Shotgun and then the Outlaw Shotguns later on in the season, but right now it's just the Sentinel Pump and the Twin Fire Auto Shotgun. And last season, my favorite shotgun was the Sentinel Pump, and my least favorite shotgun was the Twin Fire Auto Shotgun. So these being the only two options makes the Sentinel Pump a super easy choice for me. And then it's also very easy to get consistently high rarity shotguns this season because of the way the black market works. You can pretty much always buy a purple pump at any of them, I think. And then there is the black market outside Crime City, which has the mythic Sentinel Pump guaranteed every game that you can trade dill bits for. So I think it's very reliable and easy to get a high rarity pump this season, ideally the mythic pump. And so I'm not also pretty much ever going to be in those situations, aside from early game maybe, where it's like, oh, I have a gold auto but a low rarity pump, maybe I'll use the auto. I feel like that's just not going to happen this season because I would just end up going to the black market and then getting a high rarity version of the gun I actually want to use anyways. So I only plan on using the pump this season unless those other shotguns turn out to be good. But for right now, Sentinel Pump over Twin Fire Auto Shotgun 100% every single game for me, and that is a no-brainer. ARs are a somewhat similar story because we have the best option from last season carrying over in the Hollow Twister AR. And the Hollow Twister AR is still going to be my preferred choice as a main AR, but I think the other two options are also quite good, and you really shouldn't sleep on them. I've seen a decent amount of hate towards both the Collateral AR and the Striker Burst, saying that they're just so pointless and that the Hollow Twister is too good. But I think both of these weapons are decent at what they do, actually quite good. The Collateral Damage AR is more of an like AR SMG hybrid style weapon where it has a really good fire rate and it excels in kind of close to medium range. Because this is a third person weapon with no sight on it, if you have an enemy like 70 meters away, you would much rather have the Hollow Twister or the Striker Burst. But the Collateral Damage is more of like a medium range spray weapon, and it is very, very good at that, I think. And we'll get to potential reasons why you would maybe want to use it later on in the video. But I think if you really like sniping, the Collateral Damage AR might be the best choice for you, because then you can have this weapon to kind of combo with your pump and have a really good spray weapon and a really good medium range weapon, and then you just have your sniper for long range anyways. So I don't really want to run the Collateral Damage AR as my main AR if I'm only going to use two weapons, but if you're bringing the sniper in, I think it's quite good. If you wanted to run two ARs and have the Collateral Damage as a spray weapon to combo with your pump, I think it's better than the Precision SMG. So it's one of those things where I think the Collateral Damage AR is very good, but I just don't really see myself using it because it doesn't really fit how I would prefer to play the game. And then the Striker Burst, I also think, is incredibly good. So they made the Chapter 5 Striker Burst hit scan and no longer has bullet drop or bullet travel time. You can't customize the attachments. It comes with the red dot. And I've seen people, bashing this weapon and saying it's trash, but it is very, very good, I think. And if your aim is good and you hit headshots, you can melt people incredibly fast with this weapon. I just happen to feel better with the Hollow Twister AR. And then when it comes to comboing, pump and AR, if I'm only going to use two weapons, I would rather have the Hollow Twister for that than the Striker Burst AR, and that's kind of the main reason why I would make that choice. I just feel better with the Hollow, and I feel like it combos better with the pump. But if you feel good with the Striker Burst and you enjoy using it, I don't think you're wrong for that at all. I really think it's like a 1A versus 1B type situation, and it really just comes down to preference, which you're going to prefer between the Striker Burst and the Hollow Twister AR. I think the Hollow Twister AR is more versatile, and that's why I prefer to use it, but the Striker Burst is very, very, very good. So those are my two weapons. Ideally, Sentinel Pump, Hollow Twister AR, that's what I want to use, and that was the same as the last season. Also, I'm going to always carry some sort of heals because I'm not someone who enjoys running no heals. It really just depends on what I have access to. The Chug Jug has been reworked this season, so it now heals over time, and you just use how much of it you need in that moment. So if you took 30 shield damage, you could drink 30 out of your Chug Jug and then have 170 remaining in your Chug Jug, and it heals both white and blue health. It's a very good healing item. I'm happy to have it. I'm also happy to have big pots if that's what I happen to have. And then also the new gold splashes I think are very good. They're like chug splashes, but they also give you the gold rush effect. And this allows you to sprint faster and swing your pickaxe faster and do more pickaxe damage. And so I like having these gold splashes, especially if I'm in a situation where I know I'm going to want to go for the pickaxe trick, because this does actually work with the pickaxe trick. You'll do more damage and swing faster. And there's a medallion that gives you unlimited gold rush when you're sprinting, but you can't sprint while swinging your pickaxe. So you don't get that effect out of the medallion. So I think in team game modes, the gold rush splashes are obviously great because you can heal everybody and give that gold rush ability to everybody. Whereas the medallion is only one person gets it. And then I'm also, like I said, I like having it for potential situations where I know I'm going to go for the pickaxe trick. If I see an enemy around a car, more often than not, if you push them, they're just going to get in the car, and this opens them up to going for the pickaxe. So I think I may end up running gold splashes most if I have the ability to get them for that reason. But if I have to use a chug jug or I have to have big pots as well, it's not the biggest deal to me one way or the other. Just whichever heals I have the most of, I'm happy with, because they're all pretty good. And then now we have 2 slots remaining. One of them is going to go to mobility at least. And if I was going to run one mobility item, it would be shockwaves. I prefer to use shockwaves. It's been one of my favorite mobility items for a long time in Fortnite. I've always kind of viewed mobility as there's kind of like fighting mobility and mobility that's good at getting you out of bad situations. And then there's mobility that's good for traveling around the map. And when we compare the bat and the shockwaves, I feel like the shockwaves is much better fighting mobility, much better like panic, get out of this terrible situation mobility. And then the bat is much better traveling around the map mobility. And if I'm only going to carry one mobility item, I prioritize the one that's better at fighting and the one that's better at getting out of terrible situations, because that's just going to happen sometimes if you are playing pretty aggressive. And so if I'm only using one, I would like to have shockwaves. You might not always get that choice though, because the shockwaves are consumable and you need to find, how many you need. Whereas the bat, you find one bat and then you're good to go for pretty much the entire game. There is durability, but I feel like I've never even had a bat get less than half mobility or half durability this season. So both options are good, and I would like to run both. So if I'm only running one mobility and I have my pick of anything, it would be shockwaves. Sometimes you might not get enough, but I would like to have both mobility options anyways, and that would be my preferred setup this season. Sentinel Pump, Hollow Twister AR, heals, bat, and shockwaves. And I feel like with that, I'm very happy, and this is, again, a very similar setup to what I had last season. I think there is a lot of choices, though. I think you could ditch one of the mobility items, whichever you prefer to do, and then run something like the Mammoth Pistol or the Sniper. I think both of these weapons are very, very effective and very good, and also weapons that people really enjoy using. So if you like having a sniper or you really like having the Mammoth pistol, I would just ditch one of the mobility items for it. Porta bunkers are always something that can be helpful in zero build and really change the tide of fights and change the tide of endgame. And so if I didn't like running double mobility for some reason, I would maybe use bunkers. Or if I'm just in a situation where I haven't found double mobility yet and I don't really know what I want to run, the bunkers are something that you can kind of pick up, and it's like, this is going to be valued later on probably, and you don't really have to, think about it too much. So if I don't have other things that I would like to have, or I end up in a situation like, let's say endgame, I shockwave onto somebody and eliminate them, that was my final shockwave, and they happen to have bunkers, I would maybe take them in that situation as well. So could run something like the Mammoth, Sniper, bunkers. If you really hate fall damage and you hate dealing with people knocking you off of structures with the bat, the Sub-Zero Gauntlet slide ability does actually negate fall damage if you activate the slide before you land. So again, you could ditch one of those mobility items to pick up the Sub-Zero Gauntlets if, you keep dying to that fall damage. Or if you're in a situation where, like, in game, there's a lot of mountains in zone and you know that getting batted off something is going to be a problem. If I had the option in that moment to pick up the gauntlets when I identify that it's going to be a zone where that's probably a problem, then I may take them over like the bat in that situation. Uh, and so it really just depends on what you want to use. I think there's a lot of potential room for options. You could run 2 ARs and then have the collateral damage AR as your spray weapon. I've done that. I didn't really like it as much as running double mobility, but I really like having double mobility to kind of be able to fight as much as possible, play really aggressive, and kind of like get out of or reset those bad situations. And so that's why I prefer to run double mobility when there's like good options in the loot pool for it. But that is going to be it for this video. I think while the weapon meta is kind of established and people are kind of, I've seen people say they're bored of using these weapons, I feel like there is a lot of potential to kind of mix it up with things like the mammoth, the sniper, the collateral damage AR, all of that coming into the loot pool. I think there is a lot of potential for different setups and different loadouts to be used. So let me know what you guys preferred using down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.